All right, so thanks for having us today. And we are going to talk about how to fight climate change with non-visual NFTs. I had to add that because a lot of people think we are doing visual NFTs, like art things. And decentralized technology. And we've been working on this for a couple of years, more or less, 1.5 years. It was a project that started at EnergyWeb, and Wendell will tell you more about EnergyWeb later. And our co-founder, Doug, that spoke this morning, he also helped put out the Crypto Climate Accord, and together we worked on this project for Filecoin while at EnergyWeb, and we decided also to spin it out as an official startup to accelerate on some fronts. But it's worth to mention that EnergyWeb facilitated this project at the beginning in a different way. At the beginning, it was for large market operators, and today we are more focused on crypto. But let's jump onto that. If you're here, you know what the problem is. So I'm just going to paint broad strokes. Like 80% of the global energy still produces the 73% of the greenhouse gases that we put out. And of course, there's nuances to this, but it's a useful simplification. And our mission is to bring those numbers to zero, right? That's why we're called Zero Labs. And what do we do and how do we do it? This is the only slide I will kind of read. We use tokenized renewable energy certificates as NFTs, non-visual NFTs, making them a Web3 building block that powers the programmable decarbonization revolution, enabling businesses and individuals to easily buy renewable energies and transparently prove it. It's a mouthful, so what I will be doing is unpack a lot of these little things. So we tokenize renewable energy certificates. A lot of people in this space, you guys probably all know what a renewable energy certificate, but for the benefit of our larger audience and the posterity, we're going to explain, because people think, yeah, they are kind of carbon offsets. I know carbon offsets, but there's a lot of a misconception about them. So to reiterate also what Doug said this morning, renewable energy certificate for us are the key to changing electricity-related behaviors, okay, green behaviors. And to explain how they work and what they are, so one renewable energy certificate represent that 1 megawatt hour of green energy produced by a renewable power plant has been put into a specific grid, okay? And this is already one of its limitations. The 1 megawatt hour doesn't allow for the granularity that somebody else was speaking earlier on, like the hourly level or the households, etc. Because 1 megawatt hour, just to put it in context, is kind of 1 month of a US household. 3 months of an European, just to balance out, okay? And just to understand, a renewable energy certificate is this, it's a PDF, okay? It's a PDF that proves that a certain amount of energy was produced, and it has different names and there's different standards across the world. The real name would be Energy Attribute Certificate, but as a company, we want to promote the use of the more readable and understandable name Renewable Energy Certificate, which is the standard the US uses also. But as a general name, we would like to call them, because they are self-explanatory what they are. And so it's a complicated market. These PDFs are created also by these registries. Across the world, there's different registries. And they are the only way to prove that your energy is green. This is a normal misconception. Every time I try to explain it to people, they say, yes, but I don't know, my country is 30% green, that means that I'm 30% green. No, statistics and math, it doesn't work, you know? So only these 3 people or these 3 households can say their energy is really green because they have the proof. And if everybody asks a proof, there will be a moment in which there will be no proofs to give out. So some people will not be able to even say like 30%. You can distribute that, but it will never get to exactly everybody being able to say 30% green. And I like to make the difference with carbon offsets. We've been talking about carbon offsets, and people think and know about carbon offsets. Don't misunderstand me. I think both instruments, both tools are needed. I see them as brother in arms in the battle against climate change, you know, on different fronts. like the Navy and the infantry, we need both tools, right? We are biased for electricity is a less known product, but I think it's a tool, or for me it's interesting because if carbon offsets, well, maybe people don't know what a carbon offset is, but it's another certificate that proves that a certain amount of greenhouse gases has been reduced or not emitted or captured by an environmental project like a forest somewhere in the world. And that separates the action between the consumer of the electricity, the consumer of the impact, in this case, like a large company, and the activist that produces the benefit for the world. While in renewable energies certificates, they are actually the same person. The consumer is the activist because they are proving that their electricity is green. And that creates incentive to more renewable energy. And that's what the ultimate goal is. There's a sub-problem with the rec industry. It's gated. It has been built up for just the large companies, not their fault. It's like the industry is built around large numbers, large processes. It's slow, like procurement processes takes 6 months. Invoices, it's super slow, right? It's disconnected, all live in siloed databases, which makes difficult to validate, verify transparently. So we are doing the total opposite thing. And we are making it easy, fast, digital, liquid, permissionless, and programmable, all the cool things about the crypto space. We are adding on top some proofs that the community can visualize the proofs that are going to be built on the blockchain. And we are enabling permissionless innovation on top of this Web3 building block. We're going to see this. So other part of that mouthful sentence, we tokenize REX and turn them into non-visual NFTs. This is the interesting part. Like a certificate is an NFT. And it's probably one of the most useful examples of what an NFT is. So it's a green NFT that represents that 1 megawatt hour has been put into the grid. It's recorded on the blockchain. As an NFT, you can transfer it off, of course. It is of a standard that you can also fractionalize. So you can go down to the watt-hour level and start accessing or giving access to smaller buyers. You can do a bunch of things like composability, programmability, and it has this special property being a certificate that it can be logged, that only a final buyer will be able to say that sustainability claim, you know? So this is a difference from normal visual NFTs, if you want. That means that NFT will not be transferable anymore. We enable others to transparently prove it. This is what I was saying. We built some tools, for example, to show that the transactions that this NFT has been transferred and claimed to the name of a certain person or individual. And this, for example, is a story of one of the Filecoin storage providers. We've been working with them to decarbonize. In this case, for example, FileStore, Miner, F01, etc., bought 168 megawatt hours up there of iREX, this standard that is international REC for across the world, in China in this case, at a rough $1.1 per megawatt hours. A lot of people don't know the price. The prices vary across the world. They spent a total of 185, and this was for Q1 2021. It's important that there is that trackability across time again. All these data are inserted into this fancy page that is one of the pages that we have in our site, one of the proof. This is very technical, so we are also building some instrument and tools to enable the radical transparency and auditability. I started my path into crypto fighting against the fact that when you try to look into the transactions, it's really not that transparent if it takes you 3 months to understand stuff. So we want anybody to be able to do it, to verify the information by themselves without having to go down the analyst, data scientist path. Okay, so this is a path from the contract to the certificate to the proof, etc. And we are exploring new ways. We are unveiling today some scrappy things. In the classical lean startup, we are unveiling some scrappy alpha version of a new proof page because that is very technical. We want it to be more human readable so that everybody could show it. And just to explain some parts, it's ugly still, but we need to convert the dry numbers into actual impact so that people understand what they are actually doing in numbers or in things that they might be more familiar with than just megawatt hours. We are going to have some behavioral actions, like if you have a streak, you will get rewards or you are incentivized to keep going on this path of sustainability. You will get more information about the generator because some places you are giving more impact to a specific project. As you see, it's all wireframey, classical startup, but just to validate with maybe some of you these ideas. And of course, there's some call to actions. So less is more, but zero is better. This is kind of our claim, if you want. And we are building these proofs on the blockchain. Some numbers about what we've achieved so far, also thanks to Filecoin. We've tokenized 84,000 REX for 15 miners now. But looking at the pioneering effort of Stephen Aft was saying this early morning of blockchains that want to decarbonize the history. Filecoin wants to do that as well. It's a shorter history, but still a very good history. And so we are going to work to tokenize almost 1 terawatt hour of stuff on the network. Other part of the story, easily buy renewable energies. And this is where the Filecoin miners story also comes in. Today, if you want to buy these REC, again, it's very difficult. You need to go through loops and complicated markets. We are making it super easy. It will be digital and on-chain. And there's advantages, for example, for the storage providers. Through building the reputation system, or one of the variables of the reputation system will be how green, how many RECs they bought in proportion to their consumption. They might win more bids. So the end game is you are green, you get more money, you win more storage bids. Okay, that's one of the variables, of course, of the reputation system. It has other variables. And we are working also with other actors to try in this effort of proving other blockchains green. It's a challenge. We're using different methodologies. It's a work in progress. But if you want to decarbonize and prove it, we are working on that, so come and talk to us. And Web3 building block, that's another part, and it's probably my favorite. So the idea here is what happens once you enable developers to permissionlessly create with this thing, this tool. You unleash that potential innovation, right? So we are creating kind of this protocol to enable anybody to tokenize these RECs and to bring them on-chain and to use these NFTs for anything. In one of the first cases the other day at the Filecoin Green Meetup, somebody showed a connection between using the API to view on a map which miners are how green and stuff like that. And it was awesome just to see that innovation in the Filecoin community. And the part is the programmable decarbonization. This is where once you turn sustainability into an item that is programmable, you enable a lot of different scenarios that we're working on, of course, on how to make it automatic so that you don't have to go through the hoops of taking your electricity bill, devising how much energy you consumed, input it into a form, buying the RECs, getting your proof. No, it should be streamlined. I'm doing this behavior, which could be storage providing or mining Bitcoin or anything else that it's electrified, okay? And you would automatically get it calculated and proven and greenified. So this is the direction where we're working on, and please join us. We want you to fight climate change with us. Thank you. Any questions? Any questions? I probably don't need this. I've been Do I need it? No. Yeah. I don't know. It was handed to me. Questions? Thoughts? Yeah? Thank you. I went super fast, probably.
Yeah, great too. It's fantastic. So with your REX being transferable, how do you avoid like an ultra speculative marketplace popping up?
Okay, just for the audience, with the REX being transferable, how do you avoid a super speculative market popping up? Yes, that's actually a good question. Right now, we are basically claiming for the end user directly in the case of Filecoin miner. So this phase here, we are not yet enabling others to transfer them. But if it's permissionless, in one day you will probably have those players in place. I don't know, you need to avoid it. If there is speculation, it's probably good for the environment because you're capturing these certificates and there will be more demand for them, maybe. That's, of course, to be seen. You still want them to be cheap, but right now, for example, they are too cheap to constitute a real tool for helping the return of investment on small buyers. One thing that I forgot to say is that we are working to enable small sellers, those that has panels on their roofs, and small buyers, those that buy less than 1 megawatt hour or that consume for electric devices, to be able to buy this amount. And so these people need fractions and digital speed, if you want, and automatic. Yeah, I hope I answered. Yeah.
That fractionalization, component, what portion of the industry do you think that represents long term? Not here and now, but if you are able to build these components, what do you think it'll be in 5-10 years?
So our assumption, like startup, we need to validate, of course, is that it will be the majority. Like right now, the industry has been set up for large buyers, okay? But the real potential is for the individuals out there that want to decarbonize small fractions of their operations. I want my household, my activities to be green, okay? For each single activity maybe, or for the whole of my impact. And I want a simple, automatic way. I want a sustainability dashboard. And we have that vision also that companies will want that sustainability dashboard. So we believe it will be the majority.